Welcome to the Coop Tank. I'm your host, Steve Cooper, coming to you from SuiteRecording in beautiful Mount Laurel, New Jersey. And I'm here with my producer, Joe Gangemi. And I can tell you, Joe, I was at Sprouts the other day, and they had these vegan ice cream sandwiches for 50 cents a piece. Now, I'm not a vegan, but, you know, I'll eat anything. But I got these, and they were sort of like a Chipwich. And it took me back to, you know, the Chipwich, which is a spin-off of the ice cream sandwich. And to me, the ice cream sandwich is like one of the OG ice cream treats. What is your go-to ice cream treat?
For me, Coop, I think it's going to be the triple chocolate drumstick. Okay. They are just so good, and the best part of them is at the very end when you get to like the bottom of the cone and it has just like a little bit of chocolate left. It's amazing. So that's probably my pick.
All right, well, it's good, and it's good. But also, it's good to SuiteRecording. So why don't you tell the viewers a little more about SuiteRecording and what you do?
Yeah, thanks, Coop. So SuiteRecording is a podcast and content studio in Mount Laurel where we help brands and businesses to leverage the power of podcasts and video content for their businesses. Podcasting is a great tool for generating a lot of content, of course, like video clips, blog posts, newsletters, and more. But it's also really great for business development too, in the way that you can strengthen your network with clients, prospects, and strategic partners and things like that, and really just build your brand in a really fun way where you're also creating great content at the same time. So, and we can help you with everything from strategy all the way through to production and publication. So if you're looking to learn more about that, you can contact us anytime at hello@suiterecording.com or visit us on the web at suiterecording.com. That's SUITE. Take it away, Coop.
Thanks, Joe. You know, before I start the show, we have a great panel today. I want to give a shout out to my sponsor. You know, my sponsor is right down on Route 73 in Maple Shade. It's Laurel Lanes. You know, Laurel Lanes is the ultimate entertainment center. They have 60 lanes of bowling. They have state-of-the-art arcade games. They have a private luxury suite. Basically, they have something for everyone. I mean, it's great for corporate events, birthday parties, or just a night out with friends. And they have an on-site restaurant, Splits Bar and Grill, which is where I hold Cocktails with Cooper, my big event every first Wednesday of the month. And if you want to hold a networking event at Splits, reach out to them, and your first event, they will give 10% of the sales back to your charity of choice. And Splits has a great happy hour Monday through Friday, 4 to 7. They have great events. They have trivia. They have karaoke. They have just a plethora of great things. And when you're leaving and you have that sweet tooth, you can stop by Lickety Splits. That's their on-site ice cream parlor. And they have great homemade concoctions. And they actually have alcohol-infused ice cream. And I've had the butter pecan bourbon, and it's really good. So go to Laurel Lanes, NJ.com, and check them out. It's Route 73 in Maple Shade, and you'll have a fun time. Anyway, we have a great show, and my first guest, you know, she's a fellow Stockton alum like me, so I always love when there's someone from Stockton on my show. From Western Pest Services, it's Charlee DeFebbo. How you doing, Charlie?
Hey, Coop. Thanks so much for having me.
You're welcome. And then from DoVinLo, did I get it right? DoVinLo
Yes.
Accounting and Bookkeeping, it's Brooke Lera. How you doing, Brooke?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me, Coop.
And then we have the cabinet coach, Mr. Robert Kramer. What's up, Robert?
Good morning, afternoon, good day.
All right. So Charlie, tell me a little about Western Pest Services and what you do for them.
For sure. So Western Pest is a large company. We're actually part of a larger national company called Rollins, and we are the premier pest control provider in the tri-state area and a little bit out beyond that. But my territory is Atlantic County, and we do both commercial and residential, so your business and your home. But me, I just do the business end.
Okay. And Brooke, tell me a little more about DoVinLo. I keep wanting to say Don Vinlo, like Don Vito. DoVinLo.
You can call it whatever you want. I'm good with it. My business is small bookkeeping and accounting. We help small businesses with their day-to-day financials and help them know, what their numbers are at any given point, whether it's monthly, weekly, and they have their finger on the pulse. So we work with smaller companies just starting out or ones that are now outgrowing their spreadsheets. So that's where we come in.
Okay. And Robert, tell us a little about what you do.
Sure. I'm a kitchen and bath designer, and I have South Jersey's only mobile cabinetry showroom. And I've been a kitchen designer now for 20 years. And opened up or put my showroom on the road, going into my third year now.
And I've seen that showroom, and I give you credit because that's a big ass. But it used to be the Eagles Autism Bus, right?
A bookmobile.
Book. Okay, it's huge. This bus, and I don't know how you drive it. So anyway,
You know what? Yep, I agree. It's daunting.
yeah. So what I love about this panel is this is one of the most diverse panels I've ever had. Like as to the cabinets, Western Pest, bookkeeper. And it's funny, and I want to start with you, Charlie. Like, how did you get what was your path to Pest Services? Because I'm sure when you graduated Stockton, you didn't say, hey, I'm gonna go into Pest Services, even though Eve Pappas did that. But what's your path to getting to Western Pest?
Yeah, that's true. I never thought that pest control would be the path that I took, but I have always been in sales. So the first part of my career, so I went to Stockton for psychology. So that's where my background is. That's where my true passion is, no matter what I'm doing. But I've always been in sales. And for 10 years before I was at Western, I sold commercial insurance. Don't know how much you know about commercial insurance, but the very long story short is that I got really burned out. I think the technical term that we use is nervous breakdown. I had one. And so I quit working, and I did not do anything work related for someone else for 2 years. And when I was going back into the workforce, I really just wanted to take a completely different direction. And I did that, and I happened to get served an ad for a job position on Glassdoor at Western Pest. And I'm looking at it and I'm like, I don't know what about my background or my skill set is giving pest control, but I'll go for it. And they had an open position for commercial sales in the Atlantic City branch. I live in Atlantic City. And so I went and I interviewed, and I just fell in love with it. It is the most fun work I've ever done. Every day is different. And especially because of where we are, the Atlantic City area, I still get to use my psychology background all of the time, both in sales and working with, marginalized populations down here. So it has been great for me professionally, and it's also been really great for me personally.
That's awesome. How about you, Brooke? What's your path to DoVinLo?
So I was a previous corporate accountant. To make this story the right length of time, my last position, I was a controller, and I worked a lot. I mean, I was really burning the candle at both ends, nights, weekends, that's just what I did. My father had passed, and my kids were little, and I'm like, what am I doing? So I just decided December of 2019, I'm going to quit my job, and I'll figure out what my next step will be. I was going to try and find something to work from home in the same type of work that I had previously done. And then, of course, everybody knows 3 months later, here's COVID. And my youngest was in kindergarten and my oldest was in sixth. So I had 3 young boys home, and there was no way I was going to find a job and be able to be there with them for what they needed. So I stayed home, and I was like, I'll try this for a little while. Never did this. And I felt like, while I loved being home, I loved being with my boys, I just was always seeking something. I just didn't know where to apply that. So a friend of mine who owns an electrician business, he's like, hey, Brooke, you used to be an accountant, right? And I was like, well, I'm still an accountant. I'm like, what do you need? He's like, well, I need help with QuickBooks. He's like, I don't have a clue. I'm trying, but I don't know what's going on. And I was like, oh, I can help you. I'm sure I can help you out. So I did. And all of a sudden, the light bulb went off, and I was like, oh my God, this is what I need to do. I'm not going back to the corporate world. So that's what I did. He was my first client. He's still my client. And a good buddy of mine. So that was the end of 2022, and I started DoVinLo in early 23. So yeah, that's how I got into it, and I love it. I would never go back.
That's awesome. How about you, Robert? Because yours is a different, you said 20 years, but I mean, how did you end up cabinets? I mean, once again, it's like Charlie with the pests. It's like, you don't get out of college. You go, hey, I'm gonna have a cabinet company.
All right. Well, this could turn into a long story. So if it starts getting long, just give me a
Well,
a sec.
just compact it then.
Okay.
Well,
So it actually, unfortunately, it started back in 8th grade with my first drafting class and wanting to become an architect, but having really bad teachers, and it turned me off in high school. And I ended up not being a really good student and went to vocational school for printing. Um, After high school, I took 2 years off before deciding to go to college. So I really never meant to go to college, but I went to community college and found theater. I went all the way and got my master's degree in set design from Brandeis, and then moved to Philly, spent some time in the theater world. And then I like to say I started to want things. So I transitioned out of theater, or while I was working in theater, I ended up working for an architectural firm building models for Rainforest Cafe restaurants. After Rainforest fell apart, they lost the account. I found a job doing event trade show design. 9/11 happened, trade show business kind of collapsed, and ended up with working for a custom cabinet maker, and ended up then from there working for a boutique showroom in Cherry Hill, where I learned a lot, and it was a really good experience, and it ran its course, and left and jumped around. And while I was working for a design build firm, I came up with this idea for the cabinet coach, having spent so many years sitting in showrooms and just tired of waiting for people to come to me. 2018, I found the vehicle. It used to be the Eagles bookmobile. I bought it off of some South Philly cops who had bought it off of the Eagles during a charity auction, not knowing COVID was right around the corner and thinking maybe COVID might end up being a good thing for me. So during COVID, I renovated the vehicle. And then as we came out of COVID, I'm now entering my 3rd year, I put it on the road. I quit my full-time design position and have been working at this ever since. So just trying to make it work, make it grow.
isn't it weird how like COVID was such a bad thing, but actually a lot of things came out of it, like with networking and everything. And we'll get to networking later, but like it just expanded networks. And when it came back, everyone was like, "Holy shit! I've been networking with you for 2 years, but I've never met you." But each of your things has something to do with COVID affected you, which is so important. So it's January, man. January is almost over. That's crazy, but it's 2025, and I always say I'm not a big goal setter. I actually did write on LinkedIn some goals I want to accomplish this year, and I actually have already hit 2 of them already. I showered. No, I've had some goals. But Brooke, are you a goal setter? And just give me 1 or 2 goals that you've set for 2025.
I have to say, in previous years, I was not a huge fan of setting goals in my corporate world. I maybe because I just never loved the corporate style of goal setting, and I was just always like, making smart, and it just was not my thing. But owning my own business, yes, I definitely have goals. I have short-term goals, and I have long-term goals. But this year is definitely a growth year for me. So I'm looking to grow my business. Last year was huge for me, and I just want to continue with that path. So that's huge. And number one, the other is while I have processes and procedures in place for my business, I want to fine tune them and make them really super efficient. Because as you grow, you need to. So those are my 2 major goals.
Okay. How about you, Robert?
Yeah, so I was never a goal setter. I felt goals were like borrowing a book from the library. It only leads to disappointment and failure on my part. So I've avoided them. And I guess goals for me were just like, there were just things I had to do. I had to save some money to save for the showroom, to buy the showroom. So I didn't really call it a goal. It was just something I had to do in order to do the next thing. But owning this business has really changed me. So now I I really only get my books from the library, and I get them back before the due date. And now I actually have a list of goals for this year, and one of them is I am looking to work with more contractors, get the more contractors who will bring me in as part of their team, and at least get a new truck designed this year. My goal is to get a brand new truck made from scratch and put that on the road. So this year I'll spend some time getting that designed and budgeting for it so that next year I could possibly get it.
Okay. How about you, Charlie? Because you come from a whole career in sales, so that's like goal, especially in insurance. But do you have goals for? Are you setting goals for yourself for 24? I mean,
Yeah,
25?
I'm with Robert on this. I wouldn't necessarily call myself a goal setter, because to me, when I hear the word goal, I just think of something that I'm checking off of a list, right? I would say that I'm more of an intention setter, because for me, it's not only just about what comes at the end of whatever that intention is, but for me, it's more about the person that I'm becoming on that journey to whatever the end result is. And so my biggest intention for 2025 is to just develop more consistency within myself. And that goes across work. That's my personal life. That's, my health goals, my sleep goals, my eating goals. Just being consistent all across the board is my main intention this year.
Okay. So now we know you have 2025 goals. We're going to start with you, Robert. What is something you learned in 2024? And this could be personal or professional, because we all learn. We all learn certain things. We look back, oh, wow, that was crazy, So what is something you learned in 2024?
I think one of the things that I needed to, I really need to get people involved to take care of those things that I just don't know what I'm doing on. I was trying to learn how to do everything. Being the only person in this company, I needed to be able to do more. And so, I'm, on the bookkeeping end, I'm learning QuickBooks better. I'm trying not to make as many mistakes there, and just marketing, just trying, I'm going to try to get somebody involved in my marketing end. So I'm, learning how to get more people involved and taking some things off my plate.
Okay. How about you, Charlie? What's something personal or professional that you learned in 2024?
I think I really learned a lot about the power of the present moment. So in sales, it is super easy to be always future tripping, right? Or thinking about the past, that sale that got away, the last month, the last quarter, the whatever. But I have found that, and especially in the last 6 months or so, I have found that really grounding myself in the present moment, literally just focusing on exactly what I'm doing at the exact moment I'm doing it, kind of negates all that anxiety and that perturbation that sometimes we feel when we're in a sales situation.
Hear that big word? That's a Stockton education, people. That's a Stockton education. I'll use some big words later. Watch it. I'm going to use supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. That's a big word. Brooke, something you learned in 2024.
I learned, a lot, right? I continued to strengthen relationships with business networking connections, and there's such value in that, and it's not a chore. I actually enjoy it. I really enjoy the people that I see on a consistent basis networking, and it's fun now. Where before, early business, it's like, okay, this is something you have to do. But, now I really do enjoy it, and I like to see those people. The other thing, let me see, capacity. Starting out, you're not sure how many clients you can handle. You're not sure, can I do that many? And, you're worried about, what your limitations are. But I have learned so much about myself over the past year. And that, as I continue to grow, I'm just learning more ways to handle things. And I have not had issues with capacity, even though early on I was like, oh, can I do that many? And it's been great. So, I mean, I could go on. There's so many things that I've learned, but those are just two things that came to mind.
See, that's good. It's always good to have growth. A lot of people don't want to grow. It's unbelievable. Just in any way, their aspects, they get stuck in such a little bubble, and it's like they don't want to grow. And it always frustrates me because there's so much and people miss out on so much.
Yeah.
And I feel bad for those people. So, Charlie, we're going to start with you because you took 2 years off. You're back in sales. You love it. What motivates you? What motivates you these days? What is your motivating factor to get you up in the morning? What are you motivated by?
I am motivated by growth. Truly, I'm a very growth focused individual, perhaps to a fault. I think I would say, and that is definitely my motivation, just seeing myself improve over myself day after day.
How about you, Brooke? What motivates you?
First and foremost, my family. I love to be an example for my boys, just to show them that, in your 40s, it's okay to start a new venture and be scared about it initially and keep at it, learn more, keep going and see what you can build and learn about yourself. But also my clients, being there for my clients and being able to help them and getting them to the point where they're like, oh, all right. And then that's such a great, amazing feeling that, I can help them and empower them to see what it's like to know the financials of your business. If you want to be a legitimate business, you got to know your numbers, and helping them get to that point is an amazing feeling. So, yeah.
Okay. How about you, Robert? What motivates you?
Yeah, I got to kick it off of both Charlie and Brooke. My family motivates me, and just wanting to grow as a person and within my business. I was supposed to be a starving artist. So I'm very far behind on everything, which is something I've always been. I've always been a few steps behind, so this is like no plan B. This is plan A, and I got to make this work. And so that's really my motivation, is just doing what I have to do to make this work.
Okay. Well, by the time this show airs, which will be, you guys, it's the next week. But when we're recording this, people, the Eagles haven't played on Sunday yet, and hopefully they'll win and they'll go this.
Haven't won on Sunday.
Yeah, exactly. But what's funny is I was going through my Facebook memories, and I saw there was I posted about the guy putting the grease on the poles in Philly, because people, that people climb, and I was thinking to myself, everyone always says, I love my job. And if this guy says he loves his job, he's full of shit. Because walking around Philadelphia with gloves on in the freezing word, putting grease on a pole is not something you love. And so I think a lot of times people lie. Some people like their jobs, but a lot of people don't love their job. That being said, and we'll start with you, Brooke. What do you love about your job?
Oh, I am one of those people that love my job, by the way. Untangling a mess. When you onboard a client, first of all, it's rewarding to get to the point where they trust you and they're like, okay, here you go, and they're worried about what it looks like. And I'm just like, oh, okay. I've seen this and I've seen that and this, I've seen worse. But taking that and molding it into something beautiful that you can read and use. And when I'm finished with that initial project, that our meeting afterwards, and they're seeing it for the first time, it's just like, oh, wow. Why did I wait so long? So that's part of my job that I just love, like that initial cleanup and then, getting them off on a good start.
How about you, Robert? What do you love about your job?
I love the design process. I just like creating. I like seeing things, being in theater. I love opening night, and then being able to go move on to something else. So the best part of my job is the design process.
Okay. How about you, Charlie? What do you love about your job?
I love doing something that not everyone can do, right? Not everyone can do sales because not everyone can handle most of our day is rejection. Most of the day is being told no. Not everyone can handle that. Get up the next morning and do the same thing all over again and still be happy. And I love not everyone can work with bugs, right? Not everyone can handle seeing a really serious infestation. So I love doing something that not everyone would be cool doing.
It's so funny when I think about bugs, and I'm going to date myself, but there's a Brady Bunch episode, and I think it was Marsha or Jan had a crush on a guy named Harvey Klinger. And Harvey Klinger collected bugs. And I remember they're like, how do you like Harvey Klinger? He collects bugs. And I still, whenever I think of an exterminator, I think of that fucking episode with Harvey Klinger and his glasses looking at bugs. And so I give you credit because I couldn't go around bugs. I hate bugs. I mean, and the thing is now, like we've noticed, it's still winter and we still get crickets. Like, aren't they supposed to be dead? Like, I remember when I lived in LA, and when I lived in LA, this is unbelievable. I lived in a 2-level townhouse and there was no trees around. And I would find a cricket in the upstairs bathroom. I didn't know how he got there. Like, did he go up the steps? And I had 2 cats. I'm like, they would have eaten them. So I give you bug people credit. That's all I'm going to say. Bug people, hats off to you. You guys, I could be
Thank
like, holy
you.
shit. Oh, it's just, no, forget it. So anyway, sorry about that rant. I just thought about bugs and Harvey Klinger. That's what happens. So now you told us what you love about your job. Okay. Now I'm not going to ask you what you don't like about your job, but we'll start with you, Charlie. What's the hardest thing about your job in your eyes? What do you think is the hardest thing?
Yeah, the hardest thing is seeing a job that I know no matter what we do, it's probably not going to get that much better. And even if it does, it's probably not going to stay that way for lots of different reasons. But I would say that's a really tough, is to know that we're going to go in and try and fix something that we might not be able to fix.
Okay. How about you, Brooke?
The hardest thing, one of the hard things, I don't know. There are things that you have to work with on a regular basis that sometimes things aren't working out. And you gave it a college try and you gotta just step away and come back to it. And sometimes you just want it to be done with, but you gotta come back to it and you gotta work it out and you gotta figure it out. Um, when clients are ultra busy in their business and they don't have time to answer questions or provide, statements for things or whatever. That can get frustrating too. While I'm empathetic and I get it, it's still like, ooh, now it's like an open item on my list. So those are just a couple of things that are like you got to push yourself through.
Okay. All right. How about you, Robert? What's the hardest? One of the hardest things about your job?
I'm trying to think of which item to talk about on the list. Just because, I mean, at first you're sometimes it's people, that you're just dealing with people in general. Sometimes it's dealing with vendors. Things aren't coming in at the time that they were supposed to, so it's affecting a whole timeline. It could just be something comes in wrong, and you got one product that, one cabinet comes in wrong and it screws everything up for everybody else. And just having to deal with those type of frustrations. So, there's a long list in the remodeling industry that could be a problem.
Okay, so it's been a crazy 5 years. Okay, it's been crazy. We talk about the pandemic. I got married, and then like 2 months later, we were in the pandemic. I mean, thank God we lived together first. It was, thank God. Else it would have been like, holy shit. And my wife has OCD, so that's like, wow. It's like, oh, you're in a condo together, and you're like, oh my God, she's everywhere. Like you turn on, it's just, and you couldn't go anywhere. I couldn't even go out to a bar to get away and have a drink because they're all closed. So that's the thing. But we've all overcome stuff. So we'll start with you, Brooke. What's something professional or personal that you've overcome in the last 5 years that you're very proud of?
Very proud of.
Or proud of. You don't have to be very proud, just proud.
Um, to know that in my corporate days, there are just characteristics of how I work. Now, I think overall I was a good employee. I, strive to meet the goals of the business, whatever. But there's still some things that I'm like, oh, I hated certain parts of how I functioned. I felt like I was always putting out fires and not being more proactive. I always wanted to be more proactive, but I was never able to achieve that in my previous corporate roles. I just felt like I was always under the gun and I wanted to structure things and I wanted to think forward, but I just couldn't. I don't know if that was me, the business, or a combination of the two, but that's something that I have really worked on owning my own business. I did not want to go back to that. Yes, there are fires. Yes, there are things that you need to like put attention to immediately. But I am very proud of what I've built as far as, okay, this is what this client is going to need this month. This is when this meeting is. This is this deadline. And I've worked real hard at that proactive approach instead of being reactive. So,
Okay. How about you, Robert? What's something that you've overcome? It makes you proud in the last, it can be personal or professional, in the last 5 years.
Well, it just being where I'm at, having come up with this concept 10 years ago, or maybe it might even be more now, and having it just brew and develop. And then suddenly there it was, and again, I was never supposed to own a business. That was not where I was, should have been ending up. And here I am having done this. And, I just, to me, sometimes it's just amazing that I've done what I've done.
Is that your kitchen behind you, or is that a mock-up?
That's a client's kitchen behind me.
Because they have one of those banana racks. I just noticed that. I love those things. They're always good. Except, it's the weirdest thing. Like someone made millions off of just like hanging bananas off a rack. I love it. That's America for you. Charlie, last 5 years. I know you're probably, because you said you went through 2 years off. So there's probably, I want to hear this because this is intriguing. What's something personal? I'm guessing it's personal and professional that you've overcome in the last 5 years.
Sure. Yeah, that's it. I mean, so Brooke, I quit my previous job in December 2019 as well. And it's so wild because you're right, Coop. COVID was such a pivot point for so many people. And it was for me too, because as soon as that happened, then COVID happened and I was like, what am I going to do now? And the longer that it went on, the longer that I was like, I don't even know who would have me in the professional corporate world now that it's going on so long. But those 2 years were such a blessing for me because I had the time to get in and get down and get deep and do some serious inner work, inner child work, shadow work, whatever you want to call it, but just serious emotional wounds and psychological wounds that if you don't address them at some point, they will show up in your life in a different form. They've showed up for me in lots of different forms. And eventually it was just something that I had to address for once and for all. And that stuff takes time. That stuff that you can think that you're past something and then 6 months goes by and you get triggered by something and you're like, I thought I had that. I did not have that yet. So that 2 years was just such a deep time of soul searching and really getting to the bottom of, okay, who is this person? And now let's separate this person from these coping mechanisms and let's build some better ones. So I'm really proud of having done that.
That's awesome. It's funny how we do get triggered. I don't know if any of you ever worked in the restaurant business, but I still have the server nightmare. And I know anybody who's watching who's been a server, and I had it the other night, and I haven't waited tables for years. And it's where you're sitting there and your section is full and they keep seating people, and you're the only one, you start freaking out. And some old lady wants tea that you don't have, so you have to go in the back to find tea. And it's true though, things that we've done in the past, you're right, it do trigger us. It's crazy. But that's good you overcame that. And it's good you had the time. Like we said, COVID helped a lot of people. Unfortunately, a lot of people die, which was devastating. I know I lost people I knew, but business wise, a lot of people grew, and I think a lot of people really walked away from the job they hated because they said, you know what, we didn't know what was going to happen the next day. I mean, it was just crazy. So that's good. That's very good. I'm proud of you, Charlie, as a fellow Stockton graduate. So you guys are all pretty much in sales. I mean, Brooke, you have to get clients. So we're going to start with Robert, because you have to get clients. How do you deal with rejection? Now, being that you were in the entertainment business, you know about rejection. I mean, it's just a given. That's what you'd go through. But how do you deal with rejection? What happens to you? Because like for me, when I used to audition for something in LA, if I had a good audition and if I got home and then I didn't get the call back, or I got the call, they're going with someone else, I would just be like, you could tell it in your face. You know, when you get the bum, like your whole face changes. Right. So how do you now, we're talking about now, how do you deal with the rejection? Yeah,
I'm okay with it. You know, I think I got a thick skin. You know, I may dwell on it a little bit, like damn, I should have gotten that one. But, you know, I got something else to work on after that. And just moving on, just move on. And it's like, you know, they just weren't smart enough to know that they needed to work with me. You know, and it's not me, it's, you know, and somebody undercut me, and, good luck to them, and I move on. So I don't take it personally. There's other things I need to do. And sometimes I'm just not that smart to take it personally. You know, I just like, I get insulted. Somebody insults me. I kind of like, hold on, what just happened there? Was I supposed to be mad at that?
Okay. How about you, Charlie? Because you've been in sales for a long time. How do you deal with it? Because as you said earlier, you go through a lot of rejection, but how do you get back up on the horse?
Yeah, well, like Robert said, I don't make it about me. It's not about me. Whatever the customer decides. So I have a saying, 99% of what people do is all about them and not about you, right? So I literally, truly, probably don't know why that person chose to say no or not work with us. But I know that it's not about me. And I know that I've never not eaten at night because someone said no to me. So I do my best to not make it about me. And also the reality is that a lot of times I've been chased out of places, literally chased out, where they said, you don't need to come back here ever again. And they called me 2 weeks later to come in. So, you know, I try not to look at no as no. I try to look at it as not right now, maybe in 2 weeks.
Yep.
Okay. How about you, Brooke?
And you're right. I am in sales. It's my business, so I'm always looking for clients, and there's a sales aspect to that. I think, thank God I started this job or business in my 40s, because if I were in my 20s or even early 30s, I wouldn't have been able to handle the rejection. I don't think I was mature enough to understand that clients are going to come to you and some are not, and that's just business. And for me, I just see it as it wasn't a good fit in some way. And just like Charlie was saying, we don't get to know why, right? You don't get to say, hey, why did you not? You know, like, you don't always get to know why. So you just have to, if there was something to learn from it, and then just know that the next right client is around the corner. And for me, in my type of business, I don't accept all clients either. So I also reject, right? So if it's not a good fit on my end, I can see that I'm like, nope, this doesn't fit my business model. So I also have to let clients know, like, you know, listen, it doesn't fit my business model, but I can refer you to somebody who it might work better with. So yeah, I just, you know, I try not to be chasing clients. I try for it to be attracting them to me, whether it's through referrals or, you know, who knows why. But yeah, rejection is just part of business, and you let them go and hope that A, they come back to you, like Charlie was saying, or B, the next one will. So yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Here's a question that I always ask in a different way. This is the first time I'm asking it today. I would ask someone what is a strong point in their personality they like. But I'm going to word it differently today. I'm going to ask you about what's a part of your personality that makes you good at your job? Like for me, I'm a good interviewer. I'm a great interviewer. Thank you, people. Because I'm a good listener. And I listen to people. As you see, I don't interrupt you as you talk. It's funny, my wife is always like, you always listen to your guests, but you never listen to me. And I go, well, they're my guests. You're my wife. There's a difference. But for you, I'm going to start with you, Charlie, because you're shaking your head and you're thinking, and I can tell. What is a part of a personality trait you have that makes you good at your job?
I am really good at two things. Number one is active listening. And well, I'm really good at a lot of things, but number one is active listening. And number two is my nonverbal communication is such that I always hear from people and I always observe from people that they feel comfortable around me. And in my job, that is absolutely necessary because we're asking to get into, sometimes it's people's homes because we do a lot of apartments, we do a lot of property management, but being an active listener and being able to convey to people that it's okay for them to tell you the truth. It's okay for them to show you their, dirty places, has really benefited me, not just money wise, which it obviously has, but it's also opened me up to so many more different experiences and opportunities because I make people feel comfortable.
Okay. How about you, Brooke?
I was going to say, Charlie, my answer is almost exact. While I'm not, trying to kill bugs, I am working in a space that it's very personal to them. It's not something they share with many people. Most people that are talking about their numbers in business, they could be full of shit. You just don't know. So most people don't really talk about the details of their financials. And sometimes they're worried about whether, they did a good enough job with keeping their books, or maybe they're not making enough money, or maybe they're at a loss and they're kind of embarrassed about it. So I think what makes me really good about, what I do is I'm extremely empathetic and understanding, and I'm non-judgmental. I mean, to me, they're numbers. To me, it's a situation that I've seen a million times, but to them, it's theirs. So they don't know that so many others look like that because people don't talk about it that much. So I build that relationship because, again, somebody has to feel very comfortable with me in order to trust me with their finances, and kind of opening up their underwear drawer, like, here you go, so I think that is a huge part of why I'm good at my job. I remember a very specific client early on saying to me, and it was a reply to an email, and he's like, I decided to go with you because you didn't make me feel bad. And I was like, oh,
Yeah.
yay, because that's my goal. I mean, nobody needs to feel bad. Like, there's just a process to it, and we're going to fix it, and you'll see, like, it's okay, so yeah.
Okay. How about you, Robert?
Yeah. I too, I'm in people's homes all the time, and they're opening up their door to me, and they're opening up their doors to me, and I'm going into spaces that they might be really embarrassed about. And I try to just be mindful of that. And there's a lot of mindfulness in what I'm doing, just putting them at ease. And I hope I'm doing that, and giving them the confidence to work with me. My sense of humor, I think, helps a little bit, just putting them at ease. And my creativity, they can kind of see what, when I'm just trying to describe to them what I'm envisioning, and helping them see that, before they see it in a 3D model or anything. That's going to make them want to, continue to have me guide them through this process and coach them through this process.
Okay. You're all good with the people. I always sit there. If someone comes in my home for like a service, when they come in, I wear a clown outfit. And if they don't say anything, I'll hire them. I'm like, all right, these people are, they didn't ask. And a bloody clown outfit is even better. And if they don't say, what the hell am I? So that's always good. So, okay. So you said a part of your personality that makes you good at your job. And we'll start with you, Brooke. What's a part of your personality that you need to improve on in your job? The flip side of that first question, what's something that you need to improve on in your personality in the job? And you know you have to do that.
Yeah, well, I have some ADHD tendencies. So sometimes I just like, okay, let's do what's right in front of me. And they're like, no, 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 no. Like, just look at everything and see what's the next logical step. But that's like a conscious effort that I have to apply is that, okay, you know, don't be distracted by a noise over there or something over there or an email here. And it's like, nope, you gotta like focus on this one task and then we get to move on. So that I mean, I've really honed in on that part of myself. So but it is an effort that I put forth all the time.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay. How about you, Robert?
Yeah, as we were kind of talking about earlier, the trigger things, when people aren't getting certain things that I'm trying to describe or explain to them, I have to like control my frustration and their inability to comprehend what I'm trying to put across to them. So that's probably like my hardest thing to deal with. Sometimes it's just keeping myself in check and understand that sometimes people just don't get it. And I have to figure out another way of communicating what I'm trying to say, whether it's doing a hand drawing or a computer drawing or trying to find the right YouTube video to be like, here, this is what I was talking about, and not getting aggravated with having to go through that process.
That's happened to me with my wife there, Nick. I have a show tomorrow night, and I was sitting there. I had this idea for a bit, and I told her, and she just didn't get it. And she usually does. And I'm like, what? She's like, oh, I think it's funny. I had to explain it, and I was getting pissed. I'm like, fuck it. I'm doing it anyway. I don't care. You're not going to be at the show.
But yeah, I don't want to get to the point of like, just trust me. Just where are you not trusting me on this? It's going to work.
Exactly. You don't want to be that. How about you, Charlie? What's something you have to improve on?
Yeah, I think all salespeople, at least the ones who drive every day on the road, not road rage, but I think all salespeople would probably say organization, time management. That's definitely in there for me. And just like I said earlier, being more consistent with everything I do in a day.
Okay, so we all network. That's how we met each other. We met there, whether it be Zoom, whatever. And from networking, one of the reasons you network, to get business. I mean, some people need to network. They network to try to be popular, and then they should go back to college or high school because they screwed up the first time. But networking, you want to get business. So let's say you're networking with someone, and someone asks them. Let's say it's an insurance person, and someone says, "Hey, should I go to them for insurance? What does it take?" And we'll go with you, Charlie. What does it take for you to give someone a referral? What qualities does that person have to have that you're referring? Because we've all referred someone, and the person doesn't call, or the person does a bad job, and we're the ones who hear it because they go, "Oh, Cooper, man, what's with this guy you sent me? What he sucked." So Charlie, what characteristics does someone have to have, or what for you to refer someone? What does someone have to have?
Yeah, I mean, really, I'd be looking for, I don't know, is impeccability too harsh of a standard? I'm looking for impeccability. I know how I at least try to 100% of the time treat potential customers as far as reaching out promptly, getting them what they need promptly, following up, et cetera, et cetera. And unless I knew that somebody did those things kind of that way, that would be it.
See that impeccability. You don't hear Rowan people saying impeccability. You hear Stockton people saying impeccability. Rowan people, no. College in New Jersey, no. Stockton people, yeah. I hope Brooke didn't go to Rowan because I'll feel like a
Ryder. Nope, you're good.
Okay. How about you, Robert? Something you have to refer someone. What do they have to have?
Yeah, I've only been networking for a little while, so if I'm referring somebody, it's because I've built up this relationship, going to these networking events. I might, if somebody's asking me for an accountant, I haven't necessarily used this accountant, but, he seems to know what he's talking about. So, he might be a really good person to use. If I meet somebody at a networking event and they're just spewing their information and not pausing to listen, that they're going to give me their card, but it ain't going anywhere, you know. And you know, I've ran into those situations networking where I'm just standing there with a glazed look over my eye, trying to find a way to escape because they just have not stopped talking. And so that's how you're not going to get me to refer somebody. But again, if they seem confident in what they're doing and they're there to help everybody, not just themselves, then they could be a good refer. You know, I would feel comfortable referring them.
Okay, but no, just so you know, Robert, now if anyone asks you if you have an accountant, you say Brooke Lera with DoVinLo. That's what you say.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I need to get her information at the end of this because the way she's talking, I'm liking it. I am liking it a lot.
So see that? I'm getting your business. You already give me 10% of all new clients from the show.
But she needs a new office. So when you need the cabinetry for that new office behind you.
Exactly.
I'm saying that's a bad office. I'm not trying to insult you. I'm just saying when you're looking to redo it.
And if any of you have bugs in your cabinet, you get Charlie.
Brooke, I mean, we are in Shamong, so.
Referral. What does someone have to have? What quality?
So I'm going to go with, I really connect with people who express that their why in business is not just money. I myself, obviously, we're in business. We all are making money and trying to make money. But I am also seeking to help people. That's one of the main reasons I started this business, is that I helped my friend, and I'm like, oh my gosh, there's such a need for it. These small businesses, they're trying to do all the things, wear all the hats, and they just don't know what they don't know. So I really enjoy being able to help them grow their business. And so they are in the know. So I like to connect with people that share that same vision, right? They are not out to just succeed and pass on referrals and make money. Like I like the people that are out there to really also help businesses in some similar fashion as I am. So that's a huge factor when I talk to people and I get to know them and I'm networking with them. And right, Robert, the ones that just don't stop talking is like, whew. But yeah, so the ones that I'm like, oh, okay, you know, we start to talk about, you know, what they do and why they do it. And you know, you're immediately on my referral list if you share that same vision. I like, if I refer somebody who is somewhat new to me, I just say to them, like, listen, I really connected with this person and the services that they offer. Just know that I haven't referred them before yet. So I want to know, you know, give me some feedback. Were they good to work with? Did you hear from them? Were they responsive? You know, that kind of thing. So like I request that feedback because I don't want to give a bad referral, but it does happen. So
okay, all right. So we're on the subject of networking. Let's talk about networking. Robert, you're newer to networking. What do you like about networking? Like what's something you go to an event? What makes it a good event to you? I mean, what's
yeah. So before I owned a business, I was totally against networking. Like I was in a sales training class and they were talking about it. I'm like, there's no way I'm going to a networking event. I don't like people enough. I don't like strangers. I don't want to be like, how many financial advisors can I meet? But understanding I had to, once I got into this, and I joined a LaTip group and I enjoy being part of that group, and it ran its course. And now I'm doing a BNI, and now I have my own networking event that I sponsored the last 2 months. So I really, and I work from home. And so it's, one thing is a social thing. It gets me out of the house, gets me around these other people, other business people. We can, talk about what's going on and just meeting people. I've really, really enjoyed meeting people. And meeting new people. And I think that's what I like the most about it, is just making these new connections. And I'd like to gain some business from these people. But, whenever I go into an event now, it's like, who have I not met before? I'm looking for those new people just to connect with and see what they're about. And I keep meeting great people. And that's what I've really enjoyed. And now I'm like a few days a week I'm going. Yesterday I was at 3 different events. And
Okay.
I guess I'm addicted, I
All
think.
right. How about you, Charlie? What do you like about networking?
Yeah, I've made legitimate friends from attending networking events. So obviously I have loved that. I love the business aspect. And of course I love seeing when business is thriving and when new business is coming online, especially in the Atlantic City region. So I love knowing about all that stuff and meeting the people who are putting skin in the game down here.
Okay. How about you, Brooke?
I will agree with what Charlie and Robert both said. But I'd love to hear about people's businesses. I like to hear how they got there. And sometimes I'm like, that is such a cool business idea, So I really enjoy hearing about these creative businesses that people have started, either, COVID related, or they just got to that point where they had either a good idea or they wanted to change. And I'm like, that's so cool. Like that, I hope that really does well. So that's just a side part of it that I really enjoy, broadening my concept of business, right? That like these people come up with these ideas and I'm like, would never have come to me. Do you want to talk about bookkeeping? So, but yeah.
I like going for the free food. Like last night, man, they had amazing tacos, man.
Yes, that too.
The tacos last night. Did you try any of the tacos?
I had a taco.
The
Yes.
carne asada was amazing, and just put a little cilantro on it. And they were old school. They were like street tacos you get in LA. And the carnitas were good, but and this sounds weird. The earlier ones I had two. They had too much meat on them, and that's weird because when you have two little corn tortillas, you can't have too much meat because it just takes away from it. So anyway,
Wait, can I add one thing?
sure.
I just want to add one more thing. When I go to networking events, it's energizing too. You get to feed off of the energy of these people that are really motivated to build their business and really, move the needle on their business. So I don't know. It's energizing and you kind of like a sponge, absorb that energy. So yeah.
Okay. Well, you all been great, and I'm going to bring you to the last question because it's been a great show, and I'm glad you all came on. And people, when you talk about networking, just so you know, Wednesday, February 5th at is Cocktails with Cooper. It's Splits Bar and Grill from 4:30 to 7. Splits in Laurel Lanes, my sponsors, and it's a great event. Last 2 months, we get 70, 75 people. You just pay your own tab. I actually have 6 sponsors this week. I usually have 5. I had 4, then I went to 5. Everyone wants to sponsor it because it's a great deal. And now I have 6. And this is unlike other events. Like some other events, sponsors, people sit there and they sponsor it and they buy the food for everyone. No. When you sponsor my event, the money goes in my pocket because it's my event. And that's what a sponsor is. Like those guys who wear a name on their soccer jersey, they're not giving away. So anyway, if you want to sponsor in March, tell me because I have 2 spots left of the 5. But come out to that because it's great networking. But we're going to do the final question. And I know it's a long drive for you, Charlie, so you probably won't come to Cocktails with Cooper, and that's fine. Brooke always says she will, but she never has, even though Shimong's not too far. It's okay. It's okay. Don't worry. You got to have it. Don't worry. And I know Robert always comes. So, Robert, you're good. You're not on my shit list. Well, only you are, Brooke, because Charlie is far. I wouldn't drive from Atlantic City to go to Denver.
And Charlie goes to Stockton, so she's already been in this whole interview.
Charlie's already pristine. Charlie's up here, of all my guests. She's Stockton. A few Stockton people are up here. So, okay, last question. And we're going to start with you, Charlie. Someone comes up to you, could be getting out of college, could be starting a new job, because we've all had different jobs, and they want advice. They look at you as a mentor. What advice do you give them about, either it can be your choice, life or getting into the work world, how to succeed? What do you tell them?
I would say the only most important way to succeed is to make sure that you define success for yourself and then go find that. There's a billion definitions of success. That's just money to some people. That's, just literally working all day long to some people. It might not be that for you. So I would say define what success means for you and then go build your life around that.
Okay. How about you, Brooke?
I love that, Charlie. For me, I think I would say, never stop learning. always grow. There's always an opportunity to grow and learn. I don't care what age you are, there's always something to learn. And don't stop. You're going to stumble, you're going to fall, you're going to make mistakes. Just get up and go again.
Okay. How about you, Robert?
Yeah, I would say fail as much as you can, and learn how to pivot. And because the path is whatever you think it's going to be, whatever that path is, it ain't going to be that. So just that would be it. Thank you.
Okay, this has been great. Now, Charlee, how can people get in touch with you?
Yeah, so you can absolutely call me. My mobile number is 609-277-1738. You can text that number. You can call that number. You can email me. It's my first name, Charlee, CHARLEE, my last name, DEFEBBO @westernpest.com, or you can find me on LinkedIn.
Okay. How about you, Brooke?
I'm on all the things at DoVinLo. So DoVinLo is DOVINLO. My email is Brooke Lera, BROOKELERA @DoVinLo.com. And, you can find me on all the socials.
Okay. How about you, Robert?
Yeah, phone number is 856-213-9414. And I'm on pretty much all the socials. Robert at thecabinetcoach.com, or just look up The Cabinet Coach.
All right. And people, you can get in touch with me at the Coop Tank at yahoo.com. If you're looking for a moderator for an event, I'm moderating an event February 20th, Business Committed to South Jersey. It'll be at the Westin. I'm moderating that. I know I've done over 1,000 interviews and a bunch of these things, so reach out to me. Also, me and my boy Joe Gangemi, my producer, the best in town. We're working together. If you want a professional interview for your social media, we'll do a 15 to 20 minute interview, either remote or you can come in where I am sitting in SuiteRecording, and I will interview you. And I've interviewed David Duchovny, so you can say you got interviewed by a guy named David. Has interviewed David Duchovny and Stephen Van Zandt. I've interviewed all these celebrities, so it gives you good street cred. And then what we'll do is we'll give you the 15 to 20 minute video, and then Joe will give you a shorter video you can use on your socials. Okay, so reach out to me at the Coop Tank at yahoo.com. Right now, if you do book me, I'll give you $50 off the rate. It's not free. I'm just telling you that. It's not free, because for quality, you got to pay. Also, SuiteRecording, SUITE recording.com. Joe does a great job. And if you want him to build us, Joe builds studios. And a lot of people are getting into podcasting. Besides producing and streaming, Joe's got like 87 hats. And so reach out to Joe. And I want to say a shout out to Brooke Goldstein, who was in the booth today. She's working with Joe. I think she'll be producing some future episodes of the Coop Tank. The Coop Tank. Go to see the Coop Tank on YouTube. Look at past episodes. You get a lot of business facts. Also, my other show, Coop's Comedy Corner. I've just had some great guests. I had the guys from the show Homicide. I had Emmy winner Steve Scroban on. You can find the Coop's Comedy Corner on the there, and CooperTalk.net for over 1,035 interviews with celebrities. So anyway, I'm Steve Cooper. Go Birds, and we'll talk to you next time.